Hello. Welcome to Girls Run These Worlds and our third episode of a Mausritter game, The Mice in the Herb Garden. My name is Philippa Mort. My pronouns are she, her, and we're going to, as I say, be playing some Mausritter, which is a TTRPG by Isaac Williams of Losing Games and Games Omnivorous, of which you can find online as a free or pay what you want PDF or as a pretty book. And I will go through in a minute what we got up to last time. Yes, another copy, haha. But first we'll go around everyone and you tell us who you are, your pronouns, and tell us about your character as well, just a little summary. And then I'll do a little summary of what we got up to last time. So I'm going to go on my screen. So at the top I have Taylor.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I use she, her pronouns, and today I am playing Apple Fritter, who also uses she, her pronouns, who is a little mouse who's a blacksmith, but I feel like kind of maybe more accurately described metal worker kind of thing. She likes to do the little fancy things.
Excellent. Next I have Angela.
Hello there, lovelies. Absolute pleasure to have you here. My name is Angela Lemos Moravejo. I use she, her pronouns, and I will be playing Susie Faithheart, who is our mildly feral, very awkward, and very apparently existentially crisis-causing librarian mouse.
Excellent. And also, I should say thank you, Angela. The lovely song you all heard playing before we came on was Angela's amazing work. So thank you for our little theme song. And finally, Rue.
Unmute first. Hello, everyone. I'm Rue. My pronouns are she, her. I play Elchie Morrow, whose pronouns are she, they. They're a troubadour and only make sound and reasonable decisions and never anything chaotic ever.
Yes, and you may be noticing we have one person missing today. Ella is not feeling very well today, normally plays Tabitha, so Tabitha will be with us but not with us today, and Ella will join back in next time. Hope you feel better soon, Ella. I should also say before we begin, dear listener, content warnings for this show. We are playing lovely little mice. They may get into danger and they might die. We also may have mentions of insects, magic, combat, peril, and disaster. So do keep that in mind as you're watching. Is there anything else I need to remember at the top? I think that's it, apart from the recap. So last time, I remember that we went over to the Willow Root Market to get rid of, trade away your herbs with one penne peppercorn, which went reasonably successfully, apart from for Elchie, who was not so successful in their attempts at haggling. Elchie also seemed to get involved with several other people, such as one rather annoyed otter, Albertine, the frog interpreter, who was not pleased with Elchie's previous appearance. But luckily, Susie was able to diffuse it by reminding the otter of their own mortality, and they decided that perhaps a grudge in the long term was not worth it. Herbs unburdened, you set out the next morning into the woodlands towards the observatory, where you had heard the mice there were working on science and magic. You came across a member of the observatory being chased by a pheasant, which you managed to scare off, thank goodness. And you made your way to the fallen log where the observatory was. You met, so that was Bree, who took you back to the observatory, who then told you to wait to talk to Perseal Mellowmint, the head scholar of the observatory. You got a bit of a weird vibe off of Perseal, I believe, based on the fact you then decided that night to sneak around and look into the labs and libraries of the observatory, which culminated in Susie and Tabitha discovering some locked cabinets in the laboratory where they had been testing various uses of herbs and trying to sort of back engineer potions. And we left that on Susie about to try and open that cabinet, I believe. Meanwhile, Apple and Elchie had gone into the library where they had found a couple of different things, some books, some maps and things, and Elchie had spotted a rather nice little spell tablet with the Grow spell on behind a glass cabinet with a little bell. However, in the meantime, Apple had also noticed that there was an interesting little figurine of a fox that had been turned to the side, which rightly suspected was perhaps a secret door, because as you finished disabling the trap to get the spell tablet out, the secret bookcase opened and you were greeted face to face with one Perseal staring at you and going, "Oh." Is there anything else that we need to remember from last time? I think that's about covers it.
I think so.
Cool. In that case, I think we should hop right back into that. We'll go to Susie in a moment just to find out what you do there. But I do think that the major stuff that needs to be resolved is Percival staring at you, Elchie, eye to eye, your hands grasping a little spell tablet, and his hands grasping some papers and an empty jar, which did have your sample of potion that you collected from the river, but doesn't seem to have it anymore. And goes, "Oh, what are you doing?"
God, this I'm sure will go perfectly for us. I can't imagine this turning. Yeah, as Percival he's coming like straight through a doorway. It's not like he's like coming upstairs or anything.
No, he's come out of what was a bookshelf that has slid to the side. Yeah. And you see there's a little passageway beyond that leads into the log somewhere.
Okay. As he's coming out, LT, like before he has too much of a time to react, she just grabs like his face so that it is just looking at her. So she's like, look, I don't have time. In her head, she's like, I don't have time to think about whether this is okay or not. So she's like, there isn't much time. I have to tell you before they come here, before they get here.
Who's
I'm
they?
here.
What are you doing?
I've been sent by. And then she kind of like looks around just like a little bit, but not enough to move her head out of the way. I've been sent by the Academy of Rodents. They know. And then she's like, they know what you're up to, and they're trying to stop you, and I'm trying to warn you. And then she just like looks like completely freaked out, like kind of wildly like looking around like, you haven't much time. What are you going to do, Percival?
I don't know about you, Rube. I feel this is quite a risky gambit. So straight off the bat,
I think totally believe this.
I think that this will be a will roll.
Gotcha.
So that's your rolling and trying to get under your number with your d20.
Okay.
Does Elchie believe with their own words? I just have to ask.
That's a great question.
I think like when she's coming up with it, she's just like, just say words, just say anything that'll keep his attention. And then like as she gets into it, she's like, yeah, these rats are trying to come and get you. These rodents. So she just she kind of gets into it, gets a little too method. Oh no, that does not look like it's an 18.
Okay.
It 100% is not below my 9.
Nope. Okay. He just sort of slowly takes your paws off of his cheeks. And it's like, we both know that there's no Academy of Rodents. What I have found is you snooping amongst our things, and I can't be having this. And he takes out a whistle from around his neck and goes, beep!
Oh no!
And you hear from above the stairway that goes up from the library to the observatory platform, 2 sets of footprints coming down. We're going to pause mid-action there to just see what's happening with Susie, and Tabitha's in the room, but we're going to focus on Susie, and Azealia has come with you as well. So I think that was kind of happening as you were contemplating breaking the there were 3 cabinets, one with a lock on, and you were thinking about trying to open that, and in a moment you're going to hear this beep. What would you like to do?
Are there any like notes or like written materials? I think we had started to go into some of this.
Last time you had a look through what was out in the open, and what's out in the open is notes on the medicinal qualities of herbs, the sort of semi-magical properties of different herbs and things, and also notes on, there's like a filtration system, a distillation system on one of the tables, and there's some notes there on sort of like how one might take a potion and sort of back engineer it to understand its component parts. But that seems to be the notes that are in the open, and you suspect that anything else is probably locked away. This is stuff that they don't mind everyone seeing.
I think she would be spending a few minutes trying to see if there was anything else she could like scrounge around the area.
Okay. I'm just going to do, actually, I'm going to have you do a luck check. I think this one's a little difficult. So if I remember rightly, we want it to be higher. I can never remember these maths, but let's say you need to roll a 4 or under. No, that would make it easy. So you need to roll a 2 or under to find something. Because I think if there was anything that was left out, it would just be luck. Yeah, on a D6. So 2 on a 1, you find something. Otherwise, no. Okay, so I just think that you get the impression if they were going to leave something out, then they've obviously tidied away anything that would be, not for prying eyes. So you take that time, and that's, I think, when you do hear the peep echoing through the log from down the corridor that is in the direction of the library. And you see all of the little wood lice in the cage who you saw last time all perk up and are like, and like scrabble at the cage.
I think she tries to intercept the guards to talk to them.
So the position you're in, you're going to be here on the map, and everyone else is in this library, and here is the observatory. So if you want to run along to join everyone else, you can do, but you're not going to be able to intercept them necessarily.
Could you repeat that one more time for me?
So you're in the lab, here's the library, and here's the observatory. So they're going to come straight down from the observatory, the guards, and you're going to come this way. So you're not going to be able to intercept, but you can go and join everyone else if you want to.
Yes, going to immediately do that. Partially, I think genuinely acting like.
What was that?
Sorry, there is construction happening apparently right outside my room again, despite me thinking it was done. She is going to go over to that direction and join everyone.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, you get in just as you see, 2 sets of feet start climbing down the ladder that goes up to the observatory. Peep. So we will rejoin Apple and Elchie. You see Susie run in as well. What would you like to do?
I think Apple is going to do a backup plan.
Uh-huh.
And as soon as Elchie started talking, Apple is gonna start like rubbing her eyes and looking around and go, "Oh, there must have been some kind of weird spell or something that we started walking around in our sleep, or we're Elchie, aren't you so confused right now?" Because we are in our pajamas.
Yes, you are in your pajamas. That's you did deliberately change in your pajamas.
Also, Elchie is like in disguise makeup as well.
As
We have to remember that point, so it's a point in our favor.
I am disguised as a bird, maybe.
I think I'll look at the disguise. I'll be like, "What is? Someone put this on you, and it gave us weird dreams."
While you were doing that, I think Elchie was like halfway to like, "Well, you've got this," and like putting her hands up, and it's just like, "All right then." That was my Hail Mary. But so she's still got her paws up, but is like, "What's happening? Who are you?"
Where are we? The last thing I remember was laying down to sleep.
I thought I heard whispers of rodents. I don't know.
The rats are controlling our minds.
Percival folds his paws. You were sleeping with your backpack on, and you happened to carefully open a cabinet and take out a spell without setting the alarm off.
I don't remember putting this on. I'm so confused. confused.
You see two more mice have made their way down from the observatory. One comes over and puts an arm around Percy and is like, "What's the matter?" Is wearing a sort of yellow jerkin. Percy wearing the purple one of the head scholar. And the other one has kind of stepped back and has got a little oil lantern in their paw. And is sort of looking at you all, just kind of confused. They've just heard you say, like, "Where is it?" So they're sort of just like, What? Percy's still looking very angry. So, look, this is all ridiculous. Don't try and lie to me. I saw exactly what you were doing. What are you doing out of bed? I told you specifically I would talk to you in the morning.
Apple's just still Apple's not giving up the bit, and so isn't like talking, but it's just kind of looking around confused and like sniffing the air.
What are Elchie and Susie doing?
Has Susie now joined the group?
Yeah, so you run in as this is happening and you see, yes, the three mice and Apple and Elchie. Azealia comes in as well, like, "Oh, what's going on here?"
I think Susie just like waves a hello at Pestle as though nothing particularly out of place is happening at the moment. It's like, hello, Pestle.
Why are you all out of bed? What are you sneaking around? You come here, we let you stay for the night and you're sneaking all around here. I don't know who these academy rodents are. I don't believe that that's a real thing, but what are your true purposes here? He sort of brandishes his little pen along with his papers he's got clutched in his paw.
I think Elchie is gonna kind of like point accusingly at him, and she's like, "We're just following your lead. You were being weird and creepy with our stuff, and so this is what happens."
You asked me to look at it. You asked me to look at it. I was merely looking at it in my private laboratory, doing what you asked me to. If you think I've been being weird, you don't even know me.
Well, you don't know us either, so you don't know if we're sleeping right now.
You're not sleeping. Look, this is ridiculous. If I can't trust you, and he sort of becomes a bit more firm and he eyes the other two, if I can't trust you to not interfere with our goings on in our home, I'm afraid we simply will have to escort you back to the dormitory. And he sort of like nods at the other two, and the other two might start coming sort of argy-bargy towards you a bit.
I think Susie tries to perk up at that moment, waiting for a pause in case they start doing anything.
They keep coming towards you, yeah.
I think she just like, well, would you prefer for me to at least try and be honest with you about the situation as it looks like towards us?
Yes, I would very much like you to tell us what on earth you are doing, sneaking around our home.
Very long pause. There's no. If you hear me going in and out of mute, this may be a thing for this session because I was not aware this was going to happen. I think she just sort of looks at Pestle and is like, "I have some rudimentary understanding of magical and alchemical brewing and composition making, and the nature of these materials has already proven to be quite toxic to an individual who we sent over back to our home to give a warning regarding a poisoned nature of frogs who live near us. So having someone keep an individual substance, even if it's for the purposes of a beneficial end, does seem a tad suspicious, and it does not intend good intentions, despite you having been absolutely wonderful to us throughout this entire process. I think it is not an unheard of leap of logic for us to assume, to think that there may be a possibility of ill to occur should this substance be used for foul purposes, which we have already noted in our previous discussion with you, did happen. And I believe one of my friends here as well has also indicated that it does seem, at least on the surface, mildly suspicious that you would take a private sample, and the presence of a private laboratory, when really, in all honesty, I think it a tad odd that the very nature of your work is being kept in private, when really if this is a concern for the entire community, it should be out in the open, is also a cause for concern. were our acts needed to uncover this information a bit suspicious, I will warrant that is true. But I think it is also worth not ignoring the fact that you are keeping a laboratory that may not be known to everyone as a result of that. That is all. And then she goes back into her notebook to write down and think about whether or not she said the right thing.
Yeah. So are you you're just trying to sort of lay the truth out to try and diffuse the situation?
Yes.
So
we're lying and lying and lying and lying is not going anywhere.
Exactly,
Let's just go. And Susie doesn't actually really like to lie. She could do it simply because people have asked her to do it, but it's not her favorite thing to do. She's just like, well, why wouldn't you be honest if you could be honest? She doesn't get it as a rule.
Yes. So I think we're going to do another will save, but I think because you're laying out the truth and they can see that, I want you to do it with advantage. So roll to take the lower number because you're trying to get under your score, because I think this is still quite like a risky situation where if this goes wrong, they're gonna basically lock you up somewhere to talk to you in the morning, sort of thing. So we'll see how that goes.
Double threes.
Threes. Yeah. So
Two
I think
threes. That's what I meant to do. That's why I said double and I did the two, not because I wanted to say three with two fingers. No one judge me.
Okay, so no, that's good though, presumably. So that
it is below. My will is 12. Susie has a remarkably high will because people find her endearing and awkward as opposed to a liar.
Excellent. Okay, so in that case, I think you see one of the mice from the tower places a hand on Percival's shoulder and is like, Percival, I think there's just been a misunderstanding here. Like, I think we can, it's late. Let's maybe, talk about it more in the morning. And Percival goes, very well. I admit, yes, it does seem strange. I have a private laboratory because I am the head scholar here. He's very much skirting over the fact he just came from a secret passage. It's obvious why I would need to have that. But if you insist it be done in the public laboratory, I suppose we can do that in the morning. But I would ask that you not sneak around our premises and take our spell tablets. And he holds out a paw, Elchie, to take back the spell tablets.
Elchie, begrudgingly, it's just like, yeah.
And he goes and puts it back in the same cabinet and reprimes the little bell that was the sort of alarm system. And he says, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot. And, you still have part of your potion and we'll happily test it. Look, why don't we all go to the laboratory now and we'll look at it together, and that'll assuage you that there's nothing strange going on here. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, I think Apple is like, can I at least put on my regular clothes before we do that?
Very well, yes. I'll have and he turns, Borage, could you take Apple down to the dormitory to get her normal clothes? Zelia pipes up, like, me as well, please. She's also wearing a little mousy nightie.
Oh my
god. Okay.
So yeah, Borage just calls you. And Borage says, I'm so sorry, as he takes you down. I'm so sorry about that. Percival sometimes gets a little you were taking something out of our library without asking this, so I think it was understandable, but I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, I guess I just got confused because the library, normally you can take things and borrow them.
Yes, with a library card, generally.
Yeah,
acknowledging you've taken it.
We just got excited when we saw it, I think.
Yes.
As the observatory never interacted with the concept of an open and free library in which one can take something and replace it with something else, this is an open concept that does not necessitate the ownership of a said library card. And I would like to note that the free and open distribution of knowledge and information is a hallmark of Mouse Society, and of all societies. This seems worth remembering as well.
Yes. Boris sort of blusters a bit. Yeah, yes, but we have to be careful about who we let into the observatory. There are other members of the woods that we might, want to be on the lookout for. accessing some of the information might be dangerous, so we like to at least keep an eye on who is accessing what. So anyway, yes, and he shows you to your trunks and turns to let you get changed.
Yeah, I am putting my armor and stuff back on too, just in case. So I put regular clothes on, and then I also put on this pop tab chainmail.
He sort of is like, is that strictly necessary?
I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna encounter. I don't know what the potion's gonna do.
Fair enough. I mean, some of them have been having some interesting results recently, so I suppose a bit of protection.
Like what?
Oh, well, we tried combining some herbs last week and they sort of blew up. So, actually having a little bit of a protection is quite a good idea.
I grab my shield.
Puts on armor much faster. All of a sudden.
I'm really
more securely.
Sure, I have it on right.
I also think Susie takes a moment to look over at Apple Fritter, because I think in her eyes, from what she saw of the situation, Apple was the most deep in the bit, because she didn't hear any of Elchie's initial pitch, so she saw the tail end that was mostly Apple sticking into the idea, and I think her response is something like, "Did I do good?"
I mean, it worked, so I think you did good.
Fair enough. It just goes back to reading her notes and writing things out. She's not worried. She's not really understanding that we've been caught really badly. I think she's just kind of you know what? I'm gonna go with this vibe. I'm trying to be less anxious, and I feel like gotta mimic Elchie. Just go with the vibe.
Just go with it. Yeah, Elchie is slowly moving behind Apple Fritter because she has no armor to speak of.
Yeah, I'm holding. It's like when you have an umbrella and you're kind of holding it out. So I'm holding the shield out a little bit.
I think Elchie kind of looks around the dorms to see if she can pick something up as a shield or something.
I will say the whistle did wake up everyone in the dorm, so there's a lot of mice clutching their little bedclothes, staring at you what's going on? Ooh. You see Bree in the corners
Apple
what did you do? I thought you went to sleep. I went to sleep immediately. I was so tired after the festival.
Apple is trying to be yeah, I don't know what's going on. The alarm just went off.
It's so weird.
Still trying to pretend she doesn't really know what's up. Some plausible deniability.
But yeah, so everyone is they're attempting to Boris kind of tries to get everyone to settle down and is don't worry everyone, it was a false alarm, don't need to worry, don't worry about it, everything's safe, nothing's coming, don't worry.
I'm just putting my armor on for fun. It's not because anything bad's happening. I
think you do see they're not quite settled enough, and one mouse does pipe up and does say, was it Merida? Was she coming? And Boris goes, no, it wasn't, no, it's nothing, we're all good, we're all safe, we're all fine. Our lovely guests just accidentally set off an alarm. It's all fine.
A measured amount of snooping and investigation prompted by a concern for the potential malicious intentions and actions that could occur from the monk that we brought here for the purposes of study by Pestle was enacted, and as a result of that, we accidentally raised an alarm. There is nothing of considerable concern for anyone to worry about. It is simply a matter of misunderstanding and a misreading and mistrust of others' intentions.
Sneaking? You hear one mice?
Yeah, and I think after she says that very long diatribe, she just looks at if Bree is wearing because I'm imagining a very cute little mouse-sized nightcap.
Yeah,
she just points to Bree and she's like, I like your nightcap.
I think Elchie is behind Susie, yeah, what Susie said.
Just a hype mouse for the situation.
Yeah, hype. Yeah. And also it's just I don't know, you all don't dress up for bed, because she's still in her pajamas. She has made no move to change, but also still has the weird half bird cape.
Yeah.
And so it just looks very strange in her
just sort of
outfit.
Yeah, well, anyway, are you ready?
Yeah.
Should we get and sort of, I think leads the way checking that you are following to the laboratory again, which is this one on the map. So up the little staircase and to the left. The woodlice are very excited to see Borage, and Borage goes over to them and takes out some treats from his pockets and gives them all a little treat. It's obvious that Borage is obviously their trainer of some sort, so they really love Borage. And Perseal is waiting as well, so and has sort of set up a little like a little sort of Bunsen, like a mousy Bunsen burner. I don't know what it would be made of, like a paper out of a paper clip or something. And is sort of like he's gone and gotten the potion sample, and has set it up for you to sort of try and prove that, you know. So, what would you like to see?
Experiments.
Very well. What we normally do, and he sort of turns and he starts sort of talking you through how the lab normally works, and he explains that they normally are mainly looking at herbs as ways to sort of improve farming techniques and improve like the berry growth in the area, and lots of, to you all, probably quite boring like technical details and so on. Susie, you probably find this quite interesting, I suppose, if there's quite a lot of technical detail that you're like, oh, I feel like I've read about that a little bit before. But he says, and also of course we try and we're working out if we combine some herbs, what would happen. So for example, last week we combined thyme and chamomile, and it made a beautiful sleeping draft and help people go right to sleep. So one of the things we're trying to do is work out, you know, what different herbs do. And he starts sort of like putting the sample through this distillation machine, and it starts kind of like separating out into like an oil layer and different things like that and dripping through. Is there anything you want to do while he's kind of pottering about and blustering about various methods?
Is he using the sample we gave him, or is this like more of, okay, just wanted to see if like that
well
sample
it looks like it is, but yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay,
seems like he went and got it from wherever he put it. Yeah. Let me just see what is actually in.
I think Elchie, if he's just we're kind of just waiting for things to like percolate through the burner. It's just like, well, since we're all being trusting and honest here, what was that room you came out of that didn't have a door that has a normal door? And instead was behind a bookcase.
Clink, 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 clink. My office, obviously. Clink, 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 clink.
Your office is behind a bookcase?
Well,
Why?
I wouldn't want anyone going through my things, would I?
Why don't you put everyone behind bookcases?
I mean, I'm the head scholar. Am I not allowed to have my own private workspace? It's where the room was in the log when we were carving it. He seems to be sort of like, he keeps turning away as he's saying it, like he's trying not to sort of like say too much, basically. Yeah. He does not want to answer the question.
The bookcase was already in the log when you got here?
Look, I can't explain all the minutiae of log architecture to you. Do you want me to distill this potion or not? He says.
I mean,
it looks like it's distilling.
Yeah, I think Susie also goes. I hope this comes with like the tone always of like she has no
construction.
Every time it's like they have a drill going into one of my walls. It's upsetting. No. Perhaps if you trusted us, perhaps if you trusted me with my understanding of the alchemical, I could help you go through this process faster, and it would be easier for you to be less divided in your attention and able to tell us the nature of why you feel a need to be secretive with your actions.
I'm going to do a little roll for Perseal. As you're kind of like trying to convince him. So this is to see if he's kind of going to keep up his sort of basically he's trying to maintain and not answer any questions, but we'll see if he can kind of keep it up or not. Okay. As you're sort of saying this, and you've been sort of asking the same things and things, Borage comes over to Perseal and again lays a paw on Perseal's shoulder and says, look, I really think, we've been dealing with it for so long. Surely outsiders could maybe help. You know how I feel on it. No, we can't possibly. Look, we agreed that we weren't going to do it, and we're not going to. And they seem to have a sort of almost like a locked eyes conversation for a moment. And Perseal goes and turns around and goes, the thing is, we don't need to distill it. I already actually know what's in the potion. I'm just doing this because I don't want to tell you what's really going on, but you obviously have already worked out something's happening. And he sort of looks at Borage again. He says, have you heard of the witch Merida? And Elchie, this is the rumor you heard that there was a witch Merida.
Right.
Woods.
Yeah, I think Elchie is like, oh, yes, I heard there was. Well, I heard a lot of kind of random things. Some people say that she's super spooky and scary, but other people just say that she just lives out in the woods. It's just a mouse that's living out there, and people keep calling her a witch. So I actually don't know what is true, but I have heard about someone living out in the woods alone.
Well, Merida has agreed with us that she will leave us be in exchange that we take a look at this potion for her. And I'm not supposed to say this. Please do not repeat this to anyone, says Perseal. I am worried that if I tell you this, she will be very upset with us and she will no longer help protect the observatory. We have an agreement. She will protect the observatory if we help provide our own expertise. And at the moment, that involves trying to work out what was in this potion. And we actually have our own samples. And he goes over to that locked cabinet and opens it and shows several vials of the potion. We haven't quite finished distilling it, but we know most of the ingredients. But as I say, I don't really want to tell you more. But if you insist on knowing, maybe you'd be able to find out why she so desperately wants to know how it works.
I think we might already know why she wants to know how it works. I mean, if it's in the water and it's getting into castles and things like that, then maybe she wants to know if it's dangerous.
I mean, I think she certainly wants to know how it works. And quite possibly if it's dangerous. She won't tell us. She just tells us, get to it. But what we have seen in it so far is, and this is going to be just, you might want to note this down if you want to do your own research in the real world on what these things do. It contains lavender, rosemary, mugwort, and honey. That's what we've been able to work out is in it so far. Quite how these things interact and work, we're not sure.
Lavender, rosemary, mugwort, and honey.
Yeah.
I think Apple, until now, was assuming that Perseal made the potion. So I think is feeling like a little bit more like relaxed, I think, because it's like, okay, this person's not gonna kill us or something. They
Throw
like
a bunch
hide,
of this at us.
yeah, like a hide that they created this huge like crisis or whatever. So Apple's just kind of like thinking about it and says, so do you think that the witch Merida made the potion, or do you think she was just the first one to find it?
I don't think she would be asking us what was in it if she made it. I think she wants to know what's in it and how to make more of it. But I don't think she made the initial potion, no.
Well, if she was trying to keep it a secret, either she's done a very bad job or someone else has, because it's spreading out to other places. That's how we knew about it. I guess if you're worried that she'll get mad at you for telling us, if we come across her, we can let her know that we found it elsewhere, closer to
Yes.
to us.
I mean, what I'm worried about is we have this agreement about her protecting us, but she doesn't want, she doesn't want everyone asking her to do the same for them, So I'm just concerned that she might rescind that protection if she knew I was blabbing about it. Borage pipes up and is like, I've always been against it anyway. I think we ought to be able to protect ourselves, really. We don't want to have to rely on someone else.
Is it just protection from, like, the pheasant we saw out there, or is there something else going on around here?
Oh, well, Persil's, if a mouse could go pale, Persil sort of pales a little and he says, well, it's also protection against Merida.
So she's kind of got a racket going.
Yes. Yes. She often says if we were to waver, then she might get a little hungry.
She's a mouse who eats mice?
Oh, no. She's not a mouse. She's a fox.
Oh. Well, she just like places mice in her head, because they were definitely like this mouse, and then they're like get hungry and they're just like giant mouse.
No.
This is why we can't have giant mouse.
Cross out the grow tablets.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tabitha.
I think Apple's now just imagining this big fox like coming up to the log and being like, "Oh, this is a nice log. Would be a shame if anything happened to it."
Yes.
It's like kind of like
I'm
quaking a little bit.
I'm imagining that, but in the style and art, but in the art style and form of Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's got a bow tie on. It's still menacing.
Well, I think Apple kind of turns to look at Susie and Elchie and is like, do you think we should go try to talk to Merritt? Of course, we won't mention anything about the observatory. We'll just, if you find a potion in the water, it makes sense to go look for a witch to tell you about it.
Mm-hmm.
Persil says, if you do want to talk to her, and I would be very careful in doing so, we do have a way to get to her that doesn't require going through the forest. We have our own tunnel that connects to her den. So if we went, I mean, I don't want to go. Don't get me wrong, I do not want to go. But if you went that way, she would be at least expecting to see mice from that direction.
But would that put the observatory in danger if we come through that way?
Possibly. You would have to not tell her that we had let you through.
We could say that we snuck around.
And we haven't used that route in some time as well. I'm not sure if the door is open at the moment, but we could certainly see. It's below the log. And you remember there was a little stairway down into another closed door that you haven't seen into yet.
Do you have any theories on what the potion does? I know you know what's in it, but...
Mm-hmm. It says, as close as we can tell, some of the properties of those herbs, it should have some sort of transformative property. But whatever this version of it is, has gone wrong in some way. because when we touch it, it burns our skin. So it's obviously not doing what it's supposed to be doing. There's something else in it corrupting it, but the base herbs that are there should be acting in a transformative manner.
Have you made a version that's just the things you found and found that it does work properly?
Not yet, no. We were still in the process of, we haven't worked out what the base of the potion is that's holding all of the herbs together yet. So we didn't want to try and make something that could, well, as Boris told you, we have been experimenting with other potions, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And you see there are actually other little potions labeled, and lots of them are labeled with different effects, like flammable. This one exploded.
Like all these warnings all over with little mouse
Do
skulls.
not drink.
I'm trying to remember what information we already gave him, because I don't think we told them everything because he was acting all weird.
I think you told him about the frog castle, and you said that you'd found this strange potion, but I think you didn't say too much more about.
Okay. Did we tell him the effects that it had on the frogs? I wonder if that would.
I can't remember. I don't think you did. I think you just said it made them. I think you just said you'd seen it in the river, and you were worried about what it was doing.
Yeah, that's true, because it didn't seem, the frog we found wasn't like he was covered in this stuff, but he wasn't burned, right?
Yeah. But they seemed, I forget what it was. Was it that they were confused, in a daze?
Yeah, the frog seemed very dazed and confused and out of it. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think since now we've gotten a little more information out of Purcell, Elchie maybe gets him up to speed on everything else we know. He's just okay, since you've told us about all of this, maybe this will help you figure out what's in this. Do you know what would cause a concoction like this to not burn frogs, but they kind of were in a trance or a haze and acting strangely?
I mean, the base, the potion itself seems strongly magical, and you can all smell it's very cheesy. So he says, it could be, if it's seeping into the skin, it could be confusing them in some way, or it might be that he was already wet, and so it didn't burn him, but it did seep through into the skin to have more effects in the frog bloodstream, if frogs have blood. I assume they do. Says Philippa. Sorry, side note. Well, I assume they do. Yeah, I would just think they would. They have lungs, so they probably have blood. Anyway,
Can confirm, frogs have blood. Just looked it up.
Great. Thank you. Oh, my nature knowledge
just
let me
flipping
down.
through a book.
Yeah, he put up a little book on animal biology. But he basically, he says it seems depending on if it's been diluted or if it's been affected by other elements which could have been in the river, it might alter how it's reacting. But all of these reactions that you're seeing of the potion in the river shouldn't be happening based on what they've seen in the base potion, if that makes sense. So it seems like maybe something else was added to it, or it's reacted with something and it's causing these extra effects.
So maybe the witch found it from a more direct source than where we found it from.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think Apple just looks at the other two and is like, well, do you want to maybe go see the witch in the morning?
Well, she's just yes, let's go see this witch. We'll bring our samples. She doesn't seem to like them any more than any of the rest of us, so.
Okay. Just note that down. Cool. Okay, so in that case, I think Purcell and Boris sort of show you back to the dormitory, and I think Purcell to say, I'm sorry for being so secretive. You can understand why. I just want to protect all of the mice who live here. We just want a peaceful life in the woods, but not so simple when there's foxes about, and the witch's cat wandering the woods every now and again. So just have to be careful about these things.
Parcel, I have something I should tell you. I wasn't having any weird dreams.
Yes, I had worked that out. Thank you, Apple. Thank you for your honesty. While we're being honest.
Yeah, while we're being honest. I put on my pajamas and got my stuff together, and
yes. Mm-hmm. Very good. Right. Well,
there's no Academy of Road
that we know of.
Thank you, Elsie.
Yeah, there could be.
I mean, there could be beyond the borders of the wood, perhaps, but none that I've
they
heard.
Would help.
Maybe you should found one at Basildon Hall. Who knows?
Right.
She is just like, got it.
To do.
Think about an Academy of Assassin Rodents. Could be useful.
Okay, sorry.
No, I think Susie like goes up to Pestle, and I think she's still relatively small, like as a mouse compared to like some of the other folk, which is why it's always disarming when she says the really wild shit that she does. I think she just like puts a paw like on his shoulder and it's just like, new friend, you need not worry about your actions. Just remember that everything that irritates us about others or that makes us have cause for concern is merely how we come to understand ourselves as well. In that we were worried about you, it shows something about us, but the fact that you were worried about us also shows something about you. And what that shows is that you wanted to be protective and caring, and that is the heart of a good mouse. And a good mouse does what they can to continue to be good. You are a good mouse soul friend.
Thank you.
Also, your library is quite impressive.
Yes. Well, perhaps in the morning we can look at it properly, and I will show you a bit more of it.
Yeah, perhaps you can help me with this too. And she just shows the little scrap of the book that she's been carrying around. She's like, she's not expecting anything to come from it. But I, as a player, above table, I'm like,
yes,
might as well ask the dude who has a giant library if he knows anything.
Well, we'll look at it in the morning. I'll be happy to have a look. So we'll put you all to bed. You fall asleep at varying amounts, not as fast as Bree. And the next morning, all of the dormitory mice wake up. I think you maybe will have a little lie-in compared to them because, of course, you've been up for most of the night. And there's a big breakfast served in the canteen of the log, mushroom omelette, mushrooms harvested from the side of the log. In the night you do hear, so I did roll because you were kind of moving around and stuff, what is a rumor. Basically you just hear the little wood lice get excited again, because Borage puts them to bed because they were too excited because you all went in and woke them up. So you hear like as you're settling down to sleep, you do hear you hear Borage like say like, settle down, yes, no sleepy time, come on Jommets, time for bed, and tucking them all in. So that's what you hear. And so then when you wake up, have your breakfast, and I think what we'll do is we'll kind of go through the library stuff reasonably just quickly, but I think the one thing Susie Percival does have a look at the scrap that you have, and he goes, oh, interesting, that does actually correspond with some of the older files we have here. And he goes to one of the bookshelves and goes down to the bottom to this dusty pile of scrolls, and he pops them down, and it has the same minuscule illustrations on the sides, like the sort of illustrations that you would write on a manuscript. And they both have in the corner a little illustration of a raven, which the reason you have your scrap, as you know, is because it has some information pertaining to how the ravens helped the building of Basildon Hall. And he goes, oh yes, we seem to have some similar ones here, although we haven't had any updates from the ravens in a long time. Merida doesn't like the ravens flying around here, unfortunately. But yes, I think this looks similar to some of the other prophecies they have filed with us in the past. Yes.
I think if Pestle was like ahead of us like pulling stuff down from the
Yeah,
bottom
he's gone.
shelves. I think probably Elchie and Apple. There's like a moment of, if you know the Dragon Ball Z like after image effect where they just kind of like teleport to another spot.
Yeah.
It's a moment of her doing kind of that with the speed at which she just, the moment that Pestle mentions something of relevance to the scrapbook, it's not even a dust cloud, it's just instant teleportation over there. He's like, can you do that normally? It's like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's only a book related and special interest related teleportation.
Yeah. But yeah, he tells you that they haven't heard from the ravens recently, who are the ones who produced these scrolls, but he does know where they are. They live in an old oak, not in the forest, but on the other side of the river, near the what he describes as the great woolen ones, the sheep field, is where the ravens live. So that's a bit of information for you.
For sheep, from a mouse perspective, is the great woolen ones.
Yes,
that makes sense. God, it's like dragon sized.
Yeah, it would be like
I mean,
like a
bigger,
kaiju.
like
yeah. I was gonna say
sheep must be
dinosaur.
huge,
Yeah.
Just imagine being a tiny little mouse, and far off in the distance, you just hear far off, just giant,
echoing around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It like
Giant.
rattles your whole home.
Like
You're just like they're agitated, the woolen one.
They come like terrible gray clouds on the horizon. They're woolly.
In my great.
They're woolly.
But yeah, anyway,
In
so he tells
droves.
you, yeah, it's they live in an oak tree near the sheep field, which you know is actually quite near the cottage as well. So something for you for later. But yeah, he lets you know that. Is there anything else you want to look at in the library before they show you the secret tunnel?
Elchie's like tuning or no, her clarinet. I was like hand motioning a banjo, but I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's broken. Her clarinet. Yeah, I don't think, I'm trying to think if there's anything Elchie
I mean,
would
actually, you do
want.
see the spell tablet again, now carefully put away.
Yeah. I guess LG will copy it down if they don't seem bothered by that.
So the way it works is the tablet itself does the magic. So you need to
Oh,
take the tablet
okay.
if you want to use it.
Gotcha.
Imagine them like, you know how like some humans collect little crystals and things, but obviously for a mouse that would be so massive. So you'd only need a very small amount of stone to be magical for a mouse. So these are like little tiny
Gotcha.
shards of rock with little spells etched into them.
I guess in that case, maybe she'll go up to Priscilla and just ask where they acquired it, just to see if maybe we could procure.
He explains it was a gift from Merida in exchange for the signing of the initial contract.
I think Apple says, how long has Merida been in the woods? And how long has this contract been in effect?
Well, she's been working with us for at least a year, which in mouse terms is quite a long time. But before that, she was also in the woods as well. When we were first setting up the observatory, she, well, let's just say we didn't have the protection then, so we did lose a few mice. So yes.
Apple just kind of nods and okay, so would Apple know? Because she's thinking about, like, people keep saying the witch, and sometimes they're talking about Merida, and sometimes they're talking about presumably the human witch.
Yes.
Who lives in
the cottage, yes.
Yeah, would Apple, and because somebody said, oh, the potion is like transformative, would Apple know if the witch in the cottage has been seen anytime recently?
That's a really good question. She hasn't, when you in Basildon Hall, she hadn't been out gardening for maybe 1 or 2 days, and she normally comes out to water the herbs every day. But you had seen her around the house the last week or so, passing by
Okay,
the
so not
window.
like if
Yeah,
Merida's
and
been
you,
around for a
yeah,
year,
and
then
you had,
probably not
yeah,
that.
yes. If she hasn't been around, it's only been very recently. And similarly, like her cat has been in the window for the past couple of days and so on as well. So, like, yeah, if she's not somewhere, it'll only been for a day or two.
Okay. So I think Apple still is kind of entertaining this thought, but isn't like, oh, the witch in the cottage has been missing for a year and this fox has been here for a year. But it's still kind of like, maybe these things are related. But also there's just like a lot of magic around, so it could be that Merida's here because there's magic from the witch's cottage. So
Maybe. Unclear. Unclear for now.
yeah.
In that case, Perseal offers to show you to the secret tunnel. And yes, so you've picked up everything that you stored and so on, so your inventories are complete again. You've slept and you've eaten, so you don't need to worry about being hungry or exhausted. Great. So he takes you down to these little sets of stairs, and he says, yes, I must warn you, this is our this is where the fallen were who disappeared or did not make it to the observatory have been laid to rest. So please do be respectful. And he unlocks the door into a sort of like little underground, a tomb, basically, a big sort of catacomb-like tomb. Which you see there's these stairs down, and then on either side are these little sort of like stone coffins with little effigies of past mice, and there's also some like statues of mice like holding little swords and things and stuff, and one has like a little scholar's jerkin very similar to Perseal's and holding a book and things like that. And at the end of the room is a big solid door, which most of the room is, it's all sort of like a soil that's been sort of dug away, and then the walls have been wetted and hardened, but the doorway kind of like is wedged into like a big block of soily stone. And let me just get my notes. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, thick wooden door with a big keyhole, and we won't do that because he is here. Perseal goes over and he says, well, this is locked, but oh, we've been raided by Alec Azam. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you. We're playing some Mausritter. Yes, so Perseal goes, well, you won't be worrying about that. And there's like an inscription on the top of the door, and he says, luckily I'm here with you. And he goes over to a mouse that's like holding a little axe, and he steps to the side of the axe, reaches into a paw and pulls out a little key, and the axe goes tink. Which you realize, like, oh, if you were trying to do that yourself, that would have been quite bad. And he goes and unlocks the door, but you solved the puzzle through social interaction. So then he goes and puts it back, resets it all. It's like, right, so yes, this tunnel through here leads to Merida's den. Please be very careful. She may be in, she may be out. I don't know. She certainly won't be expecting you. And don't tell her that I sent you. Please. And don't tell her that I told you any of this.
Oh, as we're like kind of going in, Elchie just turns really quick. Is there anything that she likes as gifts, or is there anything that you do to kind of, I imagine you kind of have to watch, to make her a little more favorable to you all?
Yes. She really loves human things. She's rather interested in human stuff. You'll probably see some of it in her den. So if you have anything that you could offer that you found that was human made, she would probably like that.
Good to know.
And none of us have anything that's human-made right now, I don't think. I don't.
I don't think... The only thing I can think of is Elchie's banjo, like, bottle cap thing. So I'm like, maybe that could be, because the bottle cap does come from, like, something she's kind of scoured from the humans.
Yeah. I guess I have a file, which I'm assuming is human-made,
Yeah.
but not the most interesting thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, you got it, so.
Yeah.
Persil sort of says, well, if you don't mind, I need to go and tell all of the other mice what's been going on and help settle them after everything that went down last night. If you can make your way, I do not want to come. And he starts
Leave
sort of
me
turning.
the hell out of this.
Yeah, he like,
Do
like, I'm gonna go if that's okay with you.
I really don't want to be here with you.
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. I guess we go.
Yeah,
So
I think
he
Elchie's
leaves
just
you to it.
I
He-
like
he-
his new honest. Turned over a new honest leaf. I like it.
So Percival leaves you. He leaves you with the doors open, and he goes back up through, because he explains once you shut them, they will sort of lock again.
Hmm.
Oh.
So you won't be able to come back this way. So
Oh.
I think we lost Philippa.
he goes up
Hello.
back
Oh,
up
you're
towards
back.
the.
We lost you for a second.
Oh,
Yeah, it
I'm
like
sorry.
cut out for like a moment.
Oops. What was I saying? Where did you get up to? Just
You said the doors would lock behind us.
yeah. So the doors are locked behind you. But yeah, so he goes back up to the main log. So you're still in like the sort of catacomb area with the doors open to this long passageway, which you can see starts out mouse size, but quickly sort of like gets broader as well. And there also are, I will show you, so there were like little alcoves in the, I can just show you most of this now. There were little alcoves in the catacombs, and there's also some other statues in this tunnel as well.
Oh.
Do any of the statues look like they're interactable? Like the
Yeah,
axle was?
they've got they're holding little swords and axes and things.
Apple's like so curious, but also thinks back to like seeing the like chopping
Yes.
person, and so is like looking. I think says
You can take some time to look more closely if you want.
I think I'll ask Elchie and Susie and say like, this might not have anything to do with what we're doing, but I am noticing that maybe these statues have little things that we could do. Do you think we should look at them? Do you think that would be helpful?
I think we should, look at them. And then like I think Elchie, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what like pebbles, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm like, she can't be picking up rocks.
Little clods of dirt on the floor.
Yeah.
I also I have stones as ammo for my little slings, so we would
Ooh.
definitely have those.
By the way,
Cool.
also it is dark in here, so at least one of you will need to have a torch,
Can-
which Azealia can do. If
Yeah.
you
I was gonna
would
Oh,
like.
yeah.
Can our torch bearer?
So yeah, just to let you know, I will be tracking that
Okay.
as well.
We just like pull Azalea to the front. All right.
All right. Here
I
you
mean,
go.
I can touch it if you want, but I did see that.
Oh, no,
last
not
one.
that.
No, just the light. Just the light.
Light. Earn your keep. And your cider.
Okay.
Good.
Raises the torch for you.
Yeah, I think Elchie's like, maybe we could throw something at it from a sizable distance. She's also thinking of that axe going down, and she's like, like really giving.
He's gonna blast it with the grenade launcher. It looks like.
Susie's like, what if we just broke them?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You said
You can do
The
that if you want.
construction. The construction would
Elchie's
be the
just
sound
like,
of the
yes.
grenade launcher.
Chaotic energy, yes.
I can either
Give into your chaos.
I can give Elchie some of my stones from my slitting if you
Put
want to
that
throw
in
them.
there.
Yeah, I hand you some little pebbles.
Yeah, so I think I'll like throw maybe just that one of them so they're not all
Yeah.
doing things at once where we have to like try to navigate where
So,
to stand.
If you can see on the map, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 on the top, 2 on the bottom. What are you going with, the closest one or?
Yeah, let's go with the closest. Maybe
Cool.
that's the safest
Okay.
one since it's first.
You have a little look. Where's my little table?
Yeah.
Let's see. Roll a d6 for me.
Yeah. Little. Make sure I don't roll it off my table. 1.
Ooh, okay. As you throw the stone at this mouse, which is holding a sword, you kind of bonk it, and the whole statue goes whoop, and turns around to face the wall.
Oh.
And you can see there's kind of like a little space behind it as well, where if you'd been sort of touching it, it would have like gone wee, and you'd been kind of stuck a little bit behind it.
Okay.
Oh.
Not like completely covering it, but just so like you'd have had to then like crawl around the side.
Okay.
Okay, interesting. Is it just like a little like divot in the wall? It's not like a full other space?
No, it's not like a secret room. No, it's just like
Okay.
yeah.
Hmm.
But now it is facing away from you.
I can't tell if these are traps or if they're secret little fun. I can't tell if this is fun or dangerous what we're doing.
I think like Elchie gingerly goes over and like picks the stone back up because she's like, these are precious. We only have so many. Kinda. Elchie would be the person picking up all the arrows after like shooting them. Could you reuse this?
Do you know how much these cost me?
Yeah.
And how far we are from getting a reuse amount of these?
We have arrows at home, but home is so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess they're like, well, that's what that one does.
I mean, so you can see, having like done that, you can see that the reason it turned is that its base is kind of like a circle, like a sort of a wheel almost, and like sort of hitting it like spun it. And so you think you could spin it back around if you kind of threw another stone,
one.
perhaps. Yeah.
Okay. I think before doing that, maybe Elchie will go and like kind of gingerly run to the others to see if they have either a similar base or like another base that looks like it does something else.
The second one along the bottom, you see it doesn't have a circular base, but I think so. You're sort of taking a bit of time to do this. So I'm going to mark a turn as you're kind of like inspecting all the statues and things. And most of them look either like on a solid base, and this second one, it's like a mouse who's kind of like holding. They're holding like a spell tablet, I think, and have got like a little scholar's jerkin and things. And they've got like a little flower, which, as you kind of look closer, has a little hole in it.
Oh. Stone-sized hole.
Probably smaller, like a very small little hole. And looking close, it smells a little bit of lavender. The others seem more just like solid stone. The weapons are not real weapons. Just these first two seem to have like it looks like a real spell tablet that's sort of looking up at the mouse. You can't see what the spell is yet. And then the first one looks like it's a real sword it was holding. But the other three don't really seem to have anything.
Interesting. Yeah, I think they'll come back and just like, well, those three in the back look kind of useless. They're just statues to look at, I guess. Which well, I guess they're not useless if you want to look at a statue, but they don't do anything else fun. But this one over here, well, this one I guess spins. Maybe it does something else. And this other one has like a really tiny hole in it that maybe we can put something in there. Maybe the two are connected. I don't know. I don't know if you. I don't know what we could put in there. But I think maybe they like run up to it and they're like try to like put their finger in their like little paw in there. That seems like an Elchie thing to do of like, let's just see what happens unless someone stops me.
Good. I'm so glad you did that.
I'm for your backup character.
You put your little forefinger in, and it kind of like, you feel there's like a little, like a button sort of inside that kind of depresses, and as you take your finger out again, you feel this oily spray first against your finger and then go straight in your face.
Oh no.
Which is, and the lavender smell is extremely strong out to your eyes are watering as you are sprayed in the face with lavender oil, which if you don't know is not very good for you in its concentrated form.
I just looked this up.
Oh no.
You're very smelly, nicely smelly, and you do take 2 damage as it sprays into your eyes. So that goes to your HP first, and you're gonna take the condition smelly. Which you're just real smelly, and you're going to be smelly a long distance until the condition to get rid of it is you need to wash it off.
Okay.
With enough water, or this is oil, so you might need to get some soap, things like that as well. But I'll just say wash off, and we'll agree on what that is as you do it. So
yeah,
that takes up one of your slots, and yeah.
I think I need to like play with my slots, but I do think I have an empty slot at the moment. She's just like, my eyes, it burns. Don't put your finger in there.
No.
You smell this like blast of lavender and see Archie covered in this oil.
Archie's just like, I see lavender. Not the color, but the smell. It's everywhere.
Apple's like immediately like putting a paw over like the end of her nose and is like, so are these statues like pranks or something? I don't understand what the purpose is.
Elchie in the background is just like, Persil! And she's like, I don't know, like taking dirt to try to like dilute it or something.
The dirt's getting oily. You're just making a nice little oily mud on your face, like a face mask, but a really smelly, stingy one.
I don't know.
Elchie's just having a bad time in the background.
I don't know if this will help at all, but I think since Susie did give us water skins, I think that Apple's gonna go over to Elchie and start like at least trying to get like out of Elchie's eyes and like nose and stuff like that to use some water.
So I'm not blinded by lavender.
So I think this is quite hard to get off. What I will say is if you want to like basically mark off the water skin and use all 3 of its usages,
I can do
then we can say that you can like, and I think it'll take a turn to wash it off, if that's okay with you.
Yeah. Doot. I do that.
So that is 3. So I'm just gonna roll something. Interesting.
Uh-oh.
That tone whenever a GM uses it is always the best because it's the most innocuous one where you're like, did you just invite like a devil to come down and party with us, or did you like, oh yeah, the statue just turns around, it doesn't do anything? Who knows? It's the same response.
As you're washing Elchie's fur, you hear a little woo from the statue.
I think Elchie's just like, there's no reason to be rude. I was curious. Like, she's like kind of like crying a little bit at Apple while being washed, like,
Wait,
it's still in my arms.
wait. Is there, I'm trying to say this respectfully, but are you a ghost? Is there a ghost here?
Who's there?
My name's Apple Fritter, and we're not trying to hurt anyone or be disrespectful. We just are trying to get through this tunnel, and the flower looked so interesting that my friend pushed the button.
I think, could you roll a reaction roll? So 2d6.
Yeah. Do I add them together?
Yeah.
9.
9. Okay. They are talkative. So
Good.
at that they go, oh, well, my name is, let me get to the name. Very high up. My name's Gouda. It's nice to talk to someone. I haven't talked to someone in ages.
Are you in the statue?
Yes. And you see the statue's eyes sort of like start to glow a little bit. And then you see a little mousy head kind of come forward and sort of leans on top of the spell tablet and is like, I haven't seen anyone down in here in ages. And certainly no one's talked to me in ages.
Oh my gosh.
We got a little
A
little mouse friend, a mouse ghost friend.
I think I introduce Elchie and Susie, and I say, we're here to do some investigation into there's a potion that we found, and we heard there's a witch through this tunnel. Do you know anything about that?
I mean, I've heard some people moving through the tunnel before, but I don't know anything about a potion because I've been in a statue for quite some time.
Is this a statue of you?
Yes, it's what I looked like when I was alive.
Elchie's like kind of hiding a little bit behind Susie and Apple.
Yeah, the ghost
like
kind of
not-
sees you. Gouda sees you, Elchie, and is like, you played with my flower. That was funny.
That kind of really hurt, but okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Elchie's
You're
just
not
like,
you're not supposed to sniff it that closely. Does like look.
I feel bad, but not really.
Yeah.
Vibe I'm getting.
yeah, I think like Elchie's like fur in the back of her is like kind
Yeah.
of standing up a little bit, and they're not like directly looking at the
For sure.
ghost.
You two are both like hiding behind Apple, presumably.
It would be less funny if Elchie would have been really hurt. But
Well, I suppose if she'd been really hurt, then she could have come and hung out with me. And then I've had a new friend.
do all mice turn into ghosts?
No, not all of them. Only those who have unfinished business. I never perfected the perfect perfume.
Elchie's just like has those like star anime eyes, and she's like, oh, I have plenty of unfinished business.
I was just, yeah.
So many feuds left unresolved.
Would you like some feedback on the perfume in your statue? Would that help?
Honestly, no. There's nothing I can do about it now. Because I'm dead.
Oh, so you can't even ever finish your business?
Well, no. That's why I'm a ghost.
Yeah, I just thought it was giving you a chance to finish it, but this seems cosmically
Oh, I mean,
cruel.
I wrote the lavender oil in because I thought it'd be funny if someone pressed it. No.
Buddha getting back at the universe.
My great perfume is etched on the tablet that's on my statue.
Oh, if I look at it, am I gonna be burned by perfume?
Oh, no. You'd have to use it to make it work.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the perfume.
And it's another spell tablet which you see has come away a little bit from the mice's paws in the statue, and you can actually take it out, and it is a catnip spell. So a catnip spell. Oh well, yeah. I think I'll just tell you how it works because otherwise you'll never use it. So, turn object into an irresistible lure for cats. Lasts dice number of turns, so you can roll to see how long it lasts.
Oh.
And it has got all 3 usages on it.
Is it all good? Is that all right if I borrow this?
I mean, if you think it would be useful. I mean, I'm not using it.
I mean, there is a cat around, so this could be good.
Well, maybe you'll see if my perfume worked after all. You'll just have to test it and see.
And maybe if well, do you like being a ghost, or do you not want to be a ghost anymore?
I mean, it's a bit lonely down here, but now I'm out of the statue, I don't suppose I have to go back in.
Yeah.
I could go wherever I want.
I think Elchie is like slowly approached and is like kind of got their paw like near their shoulder and like really is looking like they want to put their paw through their shoulder. They let their intrusive thoughts win and they put their paw through. They're like,
oh, I would prefer it if you didn't do that. That feels weird. It feels very cold on your paw.
Yeah. That was weird for me too. Okay, we both had a weird experience.
Yes, let's not do that again. What's Susie also doing as this is happening?
Susie's just like writing stuff down about this. Jesus Christ.
Susie's turned into a steamboat.
Susie is having a time. She's just documenting this and also like thinking she's planning uses for that catnip spell.
Yeah. So actually, who's gonna put it in there? If you're taking it, who's gonna have it? Apple or?
Yeah, Susie. If you express that you're interested in it, Apple would give it to.
Cool. Okay, so pop that in your inventory. It's 1 slot. But yeah, so Gouda sort of says, yes, well, I suppose I don't have to go back in anymore, so I could go wherever I liked, really.
You should. There's a lot of interesting stuff. I don't know how long you've been a ghost, but
I don't know. It's been a long time.
Do you think that you'd want to pull a prank on someone else?
I mean, it depends if... I mean, maybe. Depends if it would be funny or not.
There is a mouse that lives in the observatory that I think it would be pretty funny if you pulled a prank on him.
Okay. What would I do?
I don't know. I feel like you could just kind of go wild, but his name's Purcell.
Go wild. Okay. I'm sure I could think of something.
Oh, maybe give him like a weird dream or something, or make him think that he's dreaming when he's awake or something like that.
I could tell him what I saw on the other side. That would be fun. Oh, I have a cool thing where I can drag people into the spirit realm. That could be a fun prank.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Okay. He's up above, is he?
Yeah, I describe what Purcell looks like.
Okay, I will go wild. Great. It's lovely to meet you all. Thanks for freeing me from my statue. It starts to float up through the ceiling.
Oh no.
You guys, they're going up. Elchie's like, is there another ghost in that? And they're like already gone.
And having set off Gouda to go wild, I think that might be a good point to have a little break. So lovely audience, we're going to have a break for about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll be back continuing along this long and dark tunnel. So don't go away, please stick around and watch some ads for us so we can raise some money for our lovely players, and we'll see you in about 10 minutes. Bye. welcome back. Welcome back to Girls Run These Worlds, where we are playing some Mausritter. We're on session 3, episode 3 of Mice in the Herb Garden. So, leaping back in where we just left off, you had a ghost fly through the ceiling and away to go wild. And there's still another statue which you've managed to twizzle around by throwing a rock at it, that's holding a sword in its paw. Down this tunnel that widens out and goes off into the darkness, out of the range of your Azelia's torch, which you know leads somewhere to Merida's den. What do you want to do?
I feel like Elchie's already been quite injured. So I feel like Apple is like, it was delightful to meet that ghost. Should we mess with this other statue, or should we just move on?
As you're saying this, Elchie has been approaching.
Yeah.
Good.
Excellent.
But has for once learned a small lesson and is like keeping their distance, but like just they throw a rock, but they're closer than they were the first time, but not right in front of it the way they were with the other one.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, is there someone in there?
And it you sort of hit it on the side and it swivels back around again, so it's facing the front again. No ghostly sounds out of this. It just seems to swivel. But yeah, the sword in its paw does seem to be a real sword.
Does anybody want a sword? I mean, I took the tablet and gave it to Susie, so it seems like it's okay if we take things. I mean, the ghost gave us permission, so
yeah. Of all the people, the ghost would be the appropriate person to give us something.
You can see the sword doesn't look like a little needle sword like you're used to. This one, it's got a bone white tooth sticking out of it, that looks long and thin, like a snake fang, and it looks almost, the tip is just glistening a little, as if there might just be a tiny bit of residual poison on it. And you do know that there are magic swords scattered about this world, and this looks like it might be one of them.
Yeah, I think Elsie's kind of looking back at Susie and Apple and like touches the hilt and like kind of nervously looks back, and they're like, if this isn't okay, stop me now. Like, kind of jiggles it a little bit, but not enough maybe to like fully pull it out. But
I'm going to ask you a question. You touch it before you ask, should I do this?
Should I? I think they like before they actually like pull it out of the thing, they're like, "Is it like yeah? Stop
but you
me
do
before
touch it."
Yes.
Apple's nodding that you should do it regardless.
So. Yeah.
As you,
Susie in the background.
So I rolled for this, and as you touch it, it feels kind of weird, Elchie. This hilt, it almost sort of binds itself to your paw, and you realize as you pull it out of the paw of the statue mouse, you can't let go, because this sword, as well as being a magical sword, is cursed. You had a 1 in 6 chance, and
cool.
Yeah, and it was cursed. So the cursed swords will bind to the mouse who first holds them, and cannot be removed from the mouse's inventory while the curse remains. And while the curse remains, the sword has no beneficial power, but once the curse is lifted, the sword regains its power. So currently it is just a medium weapon. So it does a d6 in one paw or d8 on the other. But this snake fang, you realize like it could do some real damage if this like poison was activated. And you realize if you could lift the curse, when you did a critical damage with the snake fang, you could deal a d6 additional damage to Dex, but that is not currently working because Roll a d6 for me.
Oh no.
Let's see what the curse is.
The curses in this game are so fun.
Oh, I'm intrigued. I haven't looked at the curses, so I have no idea where this is gonna go. I got a 6.
Okay, so your curse is interesting. Spells cast in your presence always mark usage.
Dang, we just got a spell.
Yeah. So spells cast. So to repeat, spells cast in your presence always mark usage. And roll another d6 to see how to lift the curse.
Okay.
Which
Let me just
I'm
note
not sure if
that
I'll tell
down.
you or not yet, but we decide.
We shouldn't have sent that ghost away. The ghost could have told us what the curse was, maybe.
I know, LG wasn't fast enough to be like, is there someone in this one too? Oh, goodbye. LG gets it. They're like, that's the kind of ghost energy I want to have. Like, just hog wild on some poor academic.
Sorry, what was the second d6?
I got a 3.
A 3. Interesting. I think I will tell you because it's not very interesting if you don't know what it is because you can't solve it, can you? So to lift this curse, you get to this feeling deep in your tummy, Elchie, that to really get this out off your paw, you would have to make lasting peace with a mortal enemy.
That's so good for Elchie's character.
You have so many enemies you could make up with.
The otter must make a return. We must bring the otter back.
Where has Albertine gone?
Albertine's like, no, I've already made my own peace without you.
I've
like,
moved on. Rekindle the fight.
Oh, what a good roll. That's so good.
Yeah. So for now, it just acts as a normal weapon, basically, but with this curse. But yeah, if you can make lasting peace with a mortal enemy, which we'll sort of decide together, basically. There's no mechanics behind it. It's just when you do that, that's when the curse would lift. And firstly, you'd be able to drop the sword, but also it would then have its magical effects activated. So you feel this in the split second as you grasp this sword. This like flashes through your mind of like, oh no.
Also, along with it is like flashes of every
enemy you've seen. Yeah,
it's just like a never-ending like
it's like
row of animals.
Yeah.
Showing all the X's.
Not my 7 X's.
Yeah. My 7 evil X mice.
It's just a flashback to the Scott Pilgrim movie, but everyone is a mouse in it.
Yeah,
so
everyone is a
the
woodland
skateboarder bro played by Chris Evans is a mouse now in a varsity jacket.
Cheese isn't vegan.
That's so good. Oh my god.
A bro Chad mouse though is so amazing.
And make a note, bro Chad mouse. Cool. Yeah, so you realise that? Do you tell everyone? Do you tell them that you've realised you can't let go?
Yeah, I think you just see Elchie like vigorously shaking their paw as like this sword just like does not fall out. They're like not grasping it, and it's just they're like, look. I think at first it doesn't truly hit them. They're like, it's a magic sword. It never falls out of my hand.
You got a good grip on that sword, Elchie.
And then they're like, it won't get out of my hand. And you like see them like trying to use their like back leg to like kind of knock it out of their hand, and it's just like not coming out. Now they have to like, they're like half doing the thing like, you know, if you're like holding a drink where you're like weirdly getting your back up, and they're like putting their clarinet away, which they'd been holding. They're like, I need a free hand. Oh no, they're like, I can't play my clarinet. No.
I think Apple comes over. Obviously, the water skins are already empty, and this wouldn't affect anything anyway. But Apple just thinks it's like sticky, maybe that it's like a spider web or something. So Apple comes over and is like trying to like empty the last drops of the water skin out.
Yeah.
Trying to get you unstuck.
Nope. She's stuck fast.
I don't know how I know this, but it won't leave my hand until I make lasting peace with an mortal enemy. But how can I ever make peace with an enemy? That's why they're an enemy.
This is gonna be maybe you could make the witch your enemy, and then we could make peace with her so it could be like kind of really quick.
I am really good at making new mortal enemies. I feel like we could pull that off. There must be something about them that I wouldn't like.
Yeah, I mean they kill mice, so that seems like already something that you might not like.
Yeah. I am definitely not a fan of mice being killed.
I think probably Merida's the one who killed Gouda. I didn't want to ask because I thought it would be rude to ask someone how they died, but you know, Purcell had said that the mice down here were killed by Merida, so I think that might be Gouda's situation. Should we go?
Well, I'm done with this area. we got the stuff we could get.
You got sprayed in the face, you got cursed.
I've had a full experience of these attractions, so I'm good.
Hey, the good news is, now that sword has stuck to your hand, you won't be able to stick your fingers into any more traps with that hand.
I can use the end of the sword. Perfect. And then confidently walks over.
Cool.
They don't get too far though. I think they get to like maybe the next statue and waits for you all.
Yeah. So you carry on down the corridor. Yeah, these final statues don't seem to sort of have extra bits, which in the earlier turn when you were looking at everything you kind of realized, so you don't need to spend extra time looking at those. But yeah, this tunnel, that's the word, tunnel, carries on, and it started obviously just underneath the log, and it kind of goes down a little bit and goes away along. Probably takes you a good, well, I think at least probably 30 minutes of walking. So I'm just going to mark off a usage on the torch. And as you kind of carry on, yeah, this tunnel gets wider, dips down, and then you see it starting to kind of like go up a little bit again, and you round a little corner, and I'm just revealing it on the Roll20. You see, I have to be careful what I reveal here. It kind of dips down again, and you see that the soil under you is getting muddy because there are drips from the roof that kind of fill up basically a little dip that has kind of become filled with water, and you can't really see it. Kind of goes, there's probably just enough room for you to kind of, as you if you were to swim through it, so you can't really see beyond it. But yeah, this area has kind of gotten sodden with rainwater above from the recent rains and has filled up.
How obscured is, like, can we see into the water at all, or is it like pretty murky?
It's a little murky. You could spend some time, reflecting the torch around a turn, to look and try and see a bit further.
I think that might not, I mean, just walking into murky water is usually not the best idea. So I think maybe Apple would take the time to look into it, even if there's just like sharp things on the bottom, or pieces of something bad.
You take the time to sort of carefully look where you can, where the roof is craggy and you can see beyond, and you work out that this isn't filling a huge amount of the corridor tunnel, sorry, but it does go kind of deep, so you think you could swim through it, and you think if you just went straight through, it would not take you too long. But you do, I think, all of you, if you were to get stuck underwater, for every, round underwater, you would take a bit of damage because obviously you can't breathe. So you think you could make it. You think you could just kind of swim through if you didn't stop to, do anything else. But I will put the torch out as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
So I think, Apple tells everyone else kind of what she's observed, and then is like, well, I don't think we have really another choice unless the rest of you have ideas. So I guess we just have to decide who's going first.
Oh, I will also say the other thing you see is at the bottom is a little sack.
Apple's definitely interested in that little sack.
But that would take you...
Yeah.
It would take you a round to swim down, so it would take you 2 rounds rather than just the one. So you might hold your breath.
Does it look like Elchie's sword hand could kind of grab it and take it along?
Ooh,
sword hand.
I don't think you'd be able to. No, basically, I think the water is deeper than a mouse height deep.
Okay, that makes sense. It'll also mean Elchie was one-handed doing it, so probably lose time that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Apple asks who wants to go first. I think says that maybe Azalea should go in the middle, basically, or not at the end. So we'll have to do some torch wrangling where someone else will have to light a torch. Whoever goes over first will light one, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
But also Apple, I think, volunteers to go first if nobody else wants to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elchie could too, just, I don't know if the length of that, I'm just how can I use the sword? The length of the sword would help folks kind of get pulled to the other side faster. So that could work. And that might also be useful just so they're not in the middle kind of trying to balance through with this weird extra paw situation.
Okay. So is Elchie going to go first in that case?
I can go first and just kind of get to the other side.
Yeah, so you're just going to swim, you're not going to try and get the bag?
No, I think they're going to try to be on the other side. That way if someone else wants to get it, maybe they can hearken them over a little bit faster.
Okay, cool. So just swimming across, it's fine. Yeah, it's murky water, it's a bit weird and it's dark because obviously Azalea comes after you, and as you get out, she ducks under and the torch goes out. But you're able to kind of swim to the side and get out and light the torch. And no problem. Apple and Susie, are you swimming straight across? Are you doing anything with the bag?
I do want to try to get that bag. I know it's not a good idea.
What I'll say is, I don't think you if you're deliberately diving down, you wouldn't obviously immediately start drowning. So I think it would be a dex save to
Dex is what I'm better
kind of
at.
pull it out, swim fast enough to basically
if it's Dex,
not
I'll
be
definitely try it because I was worried it was going to be strength, which I probably would have tried it anyway. But strength.
No, I think it'll be Dex because it's kind of you sort of able to swim and maneuver it and things rather than necessarily strength because you're in water, so wouldn't be that heavy.
I'll turn to Susie and say, I did see there was a little thing on the bottom, and I am gonna try to grab it. So just so you know, if you see me struggling, then that's what's happening.
It is natural to die, friend. We will all eventually meet our end. Do not worry.
Okay, well, if you do see me struggling, I hope that you take a more active role.
I still want you to live, friend. I'm just a reminder that if we did die, it is a pretty understandable thing.
I think I'm still gonna try to get it, although that has shaken my confidence significantly.
Anti-hype.
the two ends of hype spectrum. We
Yeah.
have Elchie full hype. Susie's just like, I mean, it's like, do you think I can do this? I mean, yes, literally. Like, she takes it very literally. She's like, well, I mean, I do think you are physically capable. Do I think you will succeed? Maybe. I don't know what you want from me.
Depends on the
alright.
universe.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, roll your d20. You're trying to get under your dex. or beat it.
Okay. My dex is 8. And I got a 7.
Nice. Great. No problem, Apple. You
Perfect.
probably
Dying
swum in
today.
you probably swum in a little like watering can pool in the summer before, so swim down. Yeah, it's not too heavy, and you're able to grab the bag and then swim up to the other side. No problem. Hold your breath long enough till you get out on the other side, and then presumably Susie, you're gonna swim just across because there's no bag. So you
I
get out.
do think it would be hilarious if she is actually a very good swimmer.
Yeah.
It's just among one of those talents. She's like, oh yeah, I learned how to swim very easily. It's just like
Yeah.
Olympic swimmer, like dives in. It's just
Doing the
full
butterfly, yeah.
butterfly.
Cool. Okay. Yep. So you get the bag out. Opening it up, you see inside is a human pocket mirror. So like a little
it's so good that we
round
got this. Okay.
mirror. The top is decorated with a sort of like, I don't know if everyone's going to know this, but like canal roses. It's a specific style of painting. Basically, these lovely little floral rose patterns that are painted on the side of boats.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, there's sort of like a little decoration of that, and then there's like inset inside is a mirror, and that takes up 1 slot, and it will be worth 200 pips to the right buyer.
I have 1 slot. So I will slot it in there.
So yeah. And please excuse me while I reveal the next bit. It's going to look a bit confusing, but it will make sense in a moment. But perspective was difficult with this map. So what this is the outside of the den, which you have probably
Okay.
seen in the distance, is a big rock covering an entrance, and you have come around the sideway, so your tunnel comes behind the rock and around. So kind of currying along in this little tunnel. That's something I'm just going to mark one for you. So you come to this little opening, and you kind of you see the rock in the ceiling of this tunnel, which I think probably Purcell mentioned this, so you kind of know you're getting close. And you do also, I think, twitch your whiskers, and you do smell the smell of fox as you get to the sort of a widening again of this tunnel. And you can see sort of as you peek around the corner where the rock kind of dips into the ceiling, you can look around and you see there's like some little sort of like a little slope down into a widened large room for mice, very large. What do you want to do?
Are we like approaching just the rest on a more tunnel, or are we seeing like an opening? Or
Yeah, it seems like it's going to open up into this big room, and you can poke your head around the side to see it. So
And we smell fox. So
yes.
safe.
So you think you're here, basically.
Yeah.
You think you're at the den. Okay. So you've got a torch lit. You've made it through various things.
I think Apple's going to, I'm moving stuff in my inventory a little bit, have the mirror in her main paw as like since we know the fox likes human things, and so is holding the mirror like already like, all right, we brought you this.
like take this, please.
Yeah.
I think Elchie is like gonna take the end of the mirror and kind of like move it around and see if we can maybe see inside of it before we step in.
Now that's a good idea. That is a wonderful idea.
Elchie finally learning to take a tiny amount of caution.
I only took 2 traps.
One first.
She's just like, I
like a
stand by
burn
my
to the-
decision.
It's like a burn to the face and a curse, but Elchie is finally learning judgment.
Okay, so taking the little mirror, you see a bit more of the chamber. I think you see about this much. So you can see on one side, you're peeking around, you can see that there seems to be another entranceway. And what that line is,
Like this line?
yeah, this line, that is what looks like some cling film that has been like strung across the entrance. And you see behind that is like a layer of foil that has been like attached to the top, and then another layer of cling film. Basically, like some sort of, you realize you wouldn't be able to get past without making a lot of noise. And then you see scattered about various sort of humanoid items, like little empty jars. You see you see just the edge. Just the edge of a large hand mirror, and you see a little bit of a puddle on the floor from where there's drips of water, similar to how the tunnel was flooded. And you see just the edge of what looks like a big drop off, like some sort of pit dug into the floor. And you don't see a fox, but listening and looking around, you do hear some noises coming from further deeper into the den that you can't see with the mirror. Sounds like maybe Merida is here.
I think Elgie's kind of looking and like, we made it, and now I don't know what we were gonna do when we got here. They're just like, there's a fox. There's a big fox in there. Presumably.
I think we're gonna ask her about the potion. I'm gonna give her this mirror. And we're not gonna mention the observatory. Which, clarifying question, Philippa.
Yep.
So we came out of the tunnel. Are we in a bigger cave area, or are we out? Okay, so we're not like
you're
outside,
still underground.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the same, it's still like the soil, but it's been dug out like a fox's den. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and then I think Apple says maybe we could, not say that we came from this tunnel unless we have to, because it seems like there's some different ways in and out of here. And I think Apple looks at Susie and is like, Susie, you're kind of the best at talking to people, I think, or at least you've gotten us out of trouble. So maybe if you talk first, we won't even get into trouble. We'll just never be in trouble.
You want me to be approachable or threatening?
I think approachable, because this is a fox.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can have threatening in your back pocket.
She pulls out her notebook where you can see she's actually written herself notes about what people have told her over time, that she's written down for herself what it means to be approachable versus threatening.
Yeah.
Oh, Susie, do you know like more information about foxes? I've never really encountered them before, but maybe there's something. I don't know if there's anything we could do that would make us. we already look appealing just as meals as a fox to
you're
the
kind
fox.
of oily and still a little bit smelly, I think, so that might be a point in your favor, Elchie.
Think of that. Elchie's like, all right, it kind of like doesn't get in front of Susie since Susie is kind of taking the social, like, but is like, all right, I can be the like smelly shield to everyone.
I'm just imagining that Elchie in the situation is the equivalent of being a dish that someone may have flavored with too much rose water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
But also
It's
like
not
still
for my
dirty and
palate.
oily.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you
That's,
rub
like,
dirt on yourself.
Yeah.
and also kind of wet because you swam through murky
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
We're
that has
all
washed a
kind
bit
of
more of
very
the smell
wet.
off. Yeah. Yeah, you're all quite damp.
none of us probably look that appetizing, which I guess is
Oh
good.
no. I'm just imagining the way that like cats look after you put them through like a bath, like kind of
Yeah.
like first like all squeegeed up.
kind of bedraggled.
Yeah. Azealia is looking, if anything, more tall and lanky than usual. She's already quite a tall man. Oh, in fact, she does ask, do you want me to keep the torch lit?
Is it dark in here?
You're underground, yeah.
We're not trying to sneak, I don't think.
Yeah. It's probably better to be able to see what's going on in the
Cool.
den.
Ready then. Looking nervous. The other thing I will say is you would all know this. A fox is so big that it would count as a warband scale creature. So your weapons would not do damage against it just normally. They would just sort of deflect off it. It would take something quite big to, damage a fox, or you would need a warband of your own, of mice or other creatures. So just so you know before you run in. But I don't think you're planning to do that anyway. I don't think you're planning to do that anyway, but just so you are aware, you would all know that. Okay, so you're gonna announce yourselves. Azealia holds the torch up, and Susie is presumably leading the way. And yeah, if you go deeper into the cave, you see a few more things. So you see there's like a little toothpick cage with some horseflies in it that are sort of sleeping currently. Although when you sort of with the torch, they sort of start going and wake up a little. There's like a little sort of a makeup bag that's been zipped up, and there's like it's kind of bulky. There's stuff inside it, and there's a little croc, the shoe, not the animal, just on one side. And you can see that the den goes deeper and opens into sort of a secondary chamber where you see the paws gently crossed over of a fox whose head is resting on them, just dozing. Seeing the light flicker, opens some eyes and looks at you, confused. And this fox has, I will just quickly say, a very beautiful white, sort of ruff of fur, and has beautifully sort of combed their hair, almost sort of styled, and a little sort of bow on one ear. And yeah, just opens its eyes and looks at all of you.
Greetings, dear madam.
She's like, you barely hear her.
What was that? I didn't quite catch that.
Greetings, dear madam.
And LG is just saying hello, but like very quietly.
I mean, we've done it before. Can Susie, so Angela, could you roll me a reaction roll, which is 2d6? And we'll see how she's feeling.
That's 5.
Okay. Unfriendly. How can they be appeased is the question. A little snarl. I wasn't expecting visitors.
Oh, we likely would not have been able to make the accommodations ahead of time to reserve time to speak with you, most esteemed fox.
My name is Merida. I would prefer it if you use my name. And she gets up and sort of starts coming towards you. And you realize, like, oh, she's very big compared to you.
She's a big one.
Filling most of this room, and she sort of towers over you all, and she goes, "How did you come to find me in my den?"
She pulls out a book I am a librarian. I am a reader of many books and a particular enthusiast of that which is historical and also contemporary. So I try my best in order to understand of all magnificent creatures that are in the world, including yourself, dear Merida.
Which book is it? Your
It's
Rich
just
book?
my notebook. I'm just
Your
noting
notebook.
that, like,
Cool.
it's just an example of like I'm
Uh-huh.
very much of a note taking kind of person, and
Yeah.
we'll probably open it up and it's obvious given the untidy, very cramped scroll.
Uh-huh.
She writes like I do, which is when I wrote in high school more
Yeah.
consistently, I thought I wrote horizontally, and then over time on
Yeah.
papers it would start to slant
Yeah.
and go into corners. But it's very clear that like she's taking notes and she's in no way trying to lie. She's just being very direct and saying that, like, well, I've read about foxes or I've read about different beings. I was not, and you fit the description of a magnificent being.
She seems to kind of say, I suppose you could say I am a magnificent being. What's your name, little mouse? She says to Susie.
I am Susan Fayhart.
Well, Susan, the name is Merida, as you seem to already know. What, besides curiosity, led you to come and see me today? Normally, people don't want to come and see me.
I have been known to make decisions that most people would describe as either peculiar, awkward, or some manner bordering on the ill-advised. This has been most of my life.
I see.
So
So
this is well within the boundaries of what I would normally do, to be honest.
interesting. I can always do with mice who make interesting decisions. And you other two, and three, she points at Apple and Elchie and Asina. Are you also here out of pure and silly curiosity?
I think Elchie just like very quickly is like, I'm Elchie Morrow. I press things I probably shouldn't, and like whole brandishes the like sword that's just stuck on their hand and is like waving it around.
Interesting. Another bad decision maker. And you? And she points at Apple.
I'm here out of curiosity and desire for knowledge that you may be able to assist us. But first, I did bring something for you, and I hold out the little mirror, and it's nothing in comparison to your radiance and your collection of other items, but I didn't want to come empty-handed.
Oh, how polite of you, Apple Fritter. Thank you so much. And she brings a big paw down, which you realize it's like, oh, I'm almost the same size as this paw, and takes the mirror from you and examines it. Very nice human craft work. Very nice, very nice. Opens it. And as she sort of looks at herself, you sort of see she's kind of like, she's not quite satisfied with what she sees, snaps it shut, puts it aside. Thank you for that. So you want some knowledge from me, is that correct?
If you wouldn't mind.
I don't know if you know this, but generally when one has something that they want from me, I will want something in return. Would you be amenable to perhaps offering something beyond a mirror? Of course, that was just an introductory gift.
Apple's mentally being like, oh dang, I should have held on to that a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think Elchie is like, what kind of things do you usually take and trade?
Well, trade, that's so base in items, isn't it? No, I'm interested in things a bit more ephemeral, knowledge, access. Where are you from, for example? Perhaps that might be of some interest to me.
I mean, we don't really want to be paying you with the information right up front. That doesn't seem very suitable.
Fair enough, I suppose.
Maybe we could let you know the information we're looking for, and then we could bargain from there.
That seems fair. What are you looking for?
Tabitha, I know obviously isn't here, but is the one who has the rest of the potion, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think
I can give it to you. Yeah.
yeah, Apple kind of holds it up and says, "We found this substance in the river and determined that it was of a magical nature. And, well, who better to you know, to go to about something magical than someone magical? And so we came here."
Interesting. And you want to know what it does, or?
Well, it seems dangerous. So we'd like to know maybe what we can do about it, or what it does, or
Okay, well, I suppose I could tell you some information about it. In return, I should like to know where you're from and also how you came to know about the tunnel entrance to my den, which I know goes to the observatory. How did you get access to that? Those are the two things I'd like to know first. Then I shall tell you a little more about the potion.
may we have a moment to discuss it amongst ourselves?
Of course. Yes, please do. And she sort of settles down. And you see she's laying on like a sort of bed of human clothes that she.
Oh no, we lost Philippa again.
Oh, dear.
Paused for a moment.
That is a
You're back.
Merida's got
Yes.
you.
Yeah, I just realized like, oh, but yeah, she settles down on her bed of clothes as you talk. My internet connection is a little unstable, so I might go in and out for a moment, but please do keep talking. I'm just going to check if that's working, but please carry on.
Yeah. So I think the thing that Apple's concerned about, obviously, is telling her where we're from is like maybe kind of neutral, not the best idea, but not the worst idea. But I think Apple is, when we're all in like a little huddle, is like, I think it's important that we be honest, but being honest doesn't necessarily mean that we have to say everything. So is there an honest way that we can tell her about the tunnel without giving away something that we promised we wouldn't tell?
Well, we did sneak around, which led us to the tunnel. Maybe we don't have to say all the stuff in between.
the specific component, if I have this right, that for this is asking for clarification and confirmation from Philippa,
Yeah.
that Percival had asked us to do was not to say that he gave us the information, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And not to say that he gave you access to the tunnel either. Yeah.
Oh, then that's a very simple workaround. Susie like hears it out and then immediately goes to speak with Merida. We are from a place known as Basildon Hall. I am a librarian of that place. Well, not a particularly well-liked or well-employed librarian of the location, but I am still nevertheless a librarian and a lover of knowledge and secrets and history and just stories in general. I would happily share a piece of history that I have come into very recently, if that would be amenable to you as a means of earning part of your trust, in addition to the information that you have asked of us.
I'd certainly be interested in it. And how you came to find the tunnel?
Oh, we came through by means of the observatory.
And you just waltzed in, did you? Through
Oh,
the locked
we are
door?
not particularly the kind to be. I've been led to believe it's something it's referred to something effective social conventions. Myself in particular, I am not. I will confess to not really understanding most social conventions, even when properly explained. It is I am a quite literal mouse, and often very confused by the sort of subtext and subtle meanings of terms and such, out unless they are being applied in a historical or research context. So you'll
Yes.
forgive me if I am a bit direct in my responses. But,
Direct is fine.
But for the most part, as a result of that nature, we are prone to investigate, to wander around, and I suppose the appropriate term here is sneak. And while we were given some space to take rest while we were interested in exploring the forest around the observatory and such, none of our hosts were particularly keen on us doing any sort of exploring, and being the kind of mice that we are, we decided to explore anyways without really their full knowledge. And as such, we took it upon ourselves to look and found this tunnel.
I see.
We discovered many things for the most part. Our hosts were very kind to us, but we are also of a slightly suspicious lot as well, as prone to not following social convention, as is obvious by my particular manner of speech, which most people find alarming, maybe unpleasant. I don't quite know. People don't tell me. They just sort of make faces at me and hope that I'll read them. And I guess
see.
that counts as communication to some mice. I don't know.
I see. So it would seem that they were very kind to you, weren't they? But rather lax in their security. I shall have to have a talk with them about that, she says. So my end of the deal, yes. So this potion, what do you know about it already? And we'll skip through. You can say what you want to say, presumably not too much. But she says, I believe if you've been investigating this potion, as have I, you will have found that it has made its way into the river. It's a dreadful shame, really. That horrible human witch Saskia has been polluting our dear, dear river. What a shame that those humans don't understand how to protect the wilds like we do. From what I understand, it was her potion to begin with, says Merida, and it spilled into the sewers out from her horrible little cottage and has gone into the waters. And now it has come here with you to be examined by me, a true witch.
Interesting.
Is there anything that we can do to clean it up? Or, I mean, I'm sure you know Basildon Hall is very close.
It is close to the cottage, isn't it? That's such a shame. Well, I mean, the thing is, Apple, I myself have noticed this horrible, horrible spill. And I did think, wouldn't it be good if we could clean it up? Wouldn't it be good if we found the source and got rid of it? In fact, I was working with the observatory mice, but it seems that they can't really be trusted to be competent in these things. So perhaps, maybe, all of you could help me.
As long as we're helping with cleaning up the river, I think.
Of course.
Our causes are related.
Yes. I mean, there is the slight addition that I would want help with, of course, is I'm rather interested in where that potion came from. I have been thinking for a while I should like access to the cottage just to, to see and make sure that no further spills were going to happen. But it would seem that a fox is too large to go into a cottage like that. But little mice could find a little small way in and perhaps bring some back for me to have a look at.
I think we would be amenable to that possibility.
That's wonderful to hear, Susie. And you see Merida has this rather predatory grin on her face. But yes, if we can be of use to each other, then I don't see why we can't work together.
May I offer a small bit of advice in regards to soliciting the aid of others?
You can offer it. I may not accept it, of course.
Oh, by all means, you're welcome to reject it. I am, as is obvious, small, meek, and in the grand scheme of the universe, insignificant in all things and in all matters.
Yes.
When one is working from a position of power, it is not often to one's benefit to intimidate and give the impression that one could easily squash those that they would seek help from. It's a bit of a bad foot forward.
I suppose, but then again, it is true. I could squash you. I could eat you, Susie. I don't think you'd like that, would you?
And
It
you would
seems
die
to
not
me.
getting what you want.
I mean, I'll find other mice. This is me offering, if anything, an offering to you, really, because if you can't help me with this, then you're not helpful to me at all.
And what stories and knowledge would you lose with my death? I don't see any situation in which you being, if I may be forgiven in saying, a bit strong and forward, will be of any benefit to you. I see only loss in your future if you continue to try and be scary towards us, which I must say is quite easy for you, given, as you've expressed, you could literally eat me. So I don't think
Yes.
within even the span of this conversation, if I may say so, you've been winning yourself any more favors.
I'm not trying to win favors, Susie. I'm simply saying that I could eat
Then why would
you
you
if
be
I wanted
asking
to.
for her help? She doesn't let Verida finish. She
Yeah,
definitely cuts her off. This is a one moment where Susie's like, every variation that she because she doesn't understand social conventions. For me to make the intention clear, she's very much playing it like Merida's. She's getting the impression that Merida's used to being like, oh, I obviously am in control of the situation,
For
and
sure.
Susie's not letting up. She's not giving her
Yeah.
any ground because she's like, I'm scared of everything because everyone is mean to me for the most part. Therefore, your fear means nothing to me. I'm gonna die.
no
I
more
was prepared to die with water.
For sure.
A fox is not any different.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is I mean, what are you trying to sort of achieve? Like, are you just trying to get her to kind of like meet you more on the level? Or
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I do think this is risky because you are
Yes.
basically flaunting that you don't care if you're sort of saying you shouldn't eat me, but she's saying, well, I can. So I think this is going to be a will save. So you're trying to roll below your will.
Any chance I get advantage for just gumption?
Go on.
Oh, okay.
She thinks, if she thinks you have little mouse courage.
No one will believe me, but both of the results were exactly the same as with my previous set of rolls. So apparently luck decided to be here, and they were both 11, which is one below my will.
Nice. Great. In that case, Merida sits back on her paws and she says, Susie, I can see that you have an inquiring and straightforward mind that is going to really help me in all of this. And you're quite right, coming in here all big and bravado, it's just something I've had to learn. When you deal with badgers and wolves and horrible cats, you have to learn how to be, getting in there, showing your stuff. But you're right, it's not really right of me to do that, is it? Why don't you all come in and talk more with me? And she sort of brings out some little like bits of cloth and stuff for you to sort of all sit down in. And she goes, you're right, Susie. I should really be a bit more welcoming, shouldn't I? I mean, you did come into my house without introducing yourselves because you went the backwards way. But still, anyway, yes, a very good point. In that case, here's the deal. I won't eat you, and I'll stop threatening to eat you for now. Unless I get hungry, of course. And in exchange, we'll have a good conversation about what you want. And perhaps you'll also help me with the extra that I'm interested in. And I can take a look at that history of yours as well if you'd like. So yeah, she sort of lays out what I said before. So she wants to investigate the source of this potion. You want to investigate the source of this potion and clean it up. Additionally, she'd quite like to gain access to the cottage, but she is finding it difficult being a larger animal and would quite like you to go and have a look. But she's no longer threatening to eat you if you don't do it. More as a quid pro quo, maybe I could sweeten the deal a little bit with you if you were to do that extra.
I think Apple, as the conversation is kind of unfolding, says, I understand what you're saying about wanting to see what's in the witch's cottage and see what exactly the potion is, maybe in its undiluted form. But keeping more potion from getting into the river isn't necessarily cleaning it up. So do you think that we will be able to clean up what's been spilled?
I'm sure we could work out a way to do it. I mean, it is flowing downstream. It will carry on out of the area. And if we stop more getting in, it's my opinion that that would eventually pass through and no longer be continuing to pollute the river. But also we could organize, the other creatures in the area to help us to clean it up. Perhaps I could, well, if you got me access to the cottage, I could talk to the witch's cat, for example.
So you want us to go into the cottage and then find a way for you to be able to come into the cottage?
Yes.
What if we got into the cottage but found a way for you to talk with the cat?
The cat and I have not always seen eye to eye. It would be better if perhaps the cat wasn't there while I was there.
We have a way to accomplish that.
You do?
Holds up the catnip spell.
Yeah.
Oh, ingenious. I'm liking you more and more, Susie. That sounds like an excellent plan. Good. Okay. Well, I mean, if you're amenable, I could help you get over there.
It would be faster, and then we wouldn't have to try to figure out how to communicate with you while the cat's gone. Since we could make the cat leave and then come to get you, and then the cat would just come back.
Very well. I mean, if you're amenable to it, and she turns and she rummages in, and you see there's like a little pencil case that's kind of got little like bundles of different herbs and little various accoutrements of different things. And she brings out a sort of little tiny scroll of paper, mouse-sized scroll, similar to what you saw Persil holding earlier. And she sort of like does a little sort of scratch on it to sort of note her signature. And she says, if we're amenable to the deal, to confirm we will go together to find the source of this spill, and we will attempt to clean it up or at least stop it. And if we have time, we will make sure I get access to the cottage. Would you be willing to sign? And she hands it out to you, all of you.
Does it say on there that you won't eat us?
Oh, let me just add that. And she...
Yeah, pretty important to add.
Really tried to slip that
on completion of the assigned tasks, I, Merida, promise I will not eat any of the mice signing below.
Or during.
Or during, yes, sorry.
I
Let me initial that.
Me as a person has been working on contracts with someone else for the past few days, so this is too real for me. I'm like, hey, no, there's like 3 details you've forgotten, and there's 2 very important words that are crucial to us living past this I would like included in there.
We're going in like notating everything. Actually, I think I'd really like to change the wording right here to this.
I'd like you to include something about whether you'll eat us or not. I think Apple then says, and you won't eat anyone at Basilton either.
I mean, I haven't added that to the contract, but I suppose I could. But I mean, that's totally different. I don't know if I'd necessarily recognize everyone from Basildon Hall.
Well, knowingly. You wouldn't knowingly.
Okay, I won't knowingly eat anyone from Basildon Hall while our contract is in place. Add that in.
I think Susie also like puts a small paw on Al's shoulder to like and just slightly like presses as if to indicate we are pushing our luck right now. This is about the most we can ask for,
Well,
and I
yeah,
still need to give her something. So can we not antagonize the fox lady who I've managed to convince not to actively eat us?
us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think Apple is also like, we're about to take this fox to Basildon. So it's like we get there riding on the back of this fox, and then
Like,
she
just
eats
swoops
everyone.
and eats.
Yeah, it's like, I don't really want that.
Fox is just like, thanks for the meal. Peace out, mice.
We saved,
Yum, yum, yum,
we
yum, yum.
saved Basildon and condemned Basildon.
You're the bringers of doom.
The potion is gone. Good news.
Bad news. You're all
You're
in the
all
fox's
also
belly.
gone. I
Well,
think
if we go back to Basildon Hall, then we have a whole population's worth of mice to fight a fox. So
that's
true.
true. Yeah, but
True.
still.
But
Yeah.
more on task.
Yeah.
By the way, just where she offers to take you, I think she does let you know that I'm going to show you the map just to give you an idea of the area. She has explained she's been doing her own investigations, and she knows that the potion has been coming upstream, which is over here, and she has noticed this open. There's been some work being done by the humans on what she knows is an entrance to the sewers. So she knows that's one way, and then she does say the cottage itself. Obviously, there's entrances around the front or around the back near Basildon Hall. So
yeah, because
you don't have to go directly to Basildon. Yeah.
Okay.
So what you're saying is that the likely source of this potion contamination is human construction. I have no experience with ire that might be attributable to human construction right now.
Not necessarily, but it could be.
I think Susie, in that case, Susie signs. If everyone else is okay with signing, I think go forward with that. And Susie would be the one to like grab the whole piece and just carry it over to her and like put it like right in front of her. So she's if I'm imagining like the camera shot, it's like very apparent that Susie, even at max height, is just right up to the top of the fox's mouth. Just like, that's a big fox lady.
Yeah, and she's been sort of like carving it with her claw a little bit. She brings out from her little pencil case a human, like a glass ink pot, and like a big, for you guys, feather that you can sort of sign with as well. So you all sign the contract, and I think we'll finish up there, having signed a contract with Merida to try and clean up this potion, try and stop it from getting everywhere. I mean, just a little sojourn into the cottage. What else? What could go wrong? It'll be fine.
Does she want her story now, or does she want it later?
Maybe later, I think. If you show it to her, maybe at the beginning of next session, she can have a look at it before you ride a fox, perhaps. So yes, but yeah, I think we will finish up there. Exciting, and next time we will see what happens. So to finish up, we'll go around everyone again. This time, reminders who you are, where we can find you, and which character you're playing, and one or two things you are doing at the moment, what people might be interested in. So I'll do the same order again. So Taylor, tell us who you are, where we can find you.
Hi, I'm Taylor, she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Roll4Felicity, and my pinned tweet right now is my schedule for this month. Notably on Sunday, I'm running a one-shot of Vampire the Masquerade, which will be my second ever time running it. And my last one-shot was my first time ever running it. And then you can also find me on Twitch. That's where I'll be streaming at twitch.tv/Roll4Felicity, and previous stuff on YouTube, which is also Roll4Felicity. But yeah.
Brilliant. Next up is Angela.
Hello there, lovely. It's been an absolute pleasure and blessing to have you here joining us for Mausritter and our little mice escapades and avoiding being eaten by a fox. My name is Angela Lemos Magraveja. I use she, her pronouns, and I've been playing Susie. you can find my work soon to be here on the channel, running Monster Care Squad with our Year of the Tempest game that has just finished being cast. That one I feel okay in saying because we just confirmed it last night and send out stuff. Or well,
Exciting.
we'll be able to get it. We'll have all the confirmations hopefully soon, but we sent out casting stuff, so that's good, and I'm excited to run that. And also we have, as part of my role as the director of operations over at Girls Write These Worlds, we are also closed and confirming the submissions for our first ever zine that we're hoping to have a publishing date of January 19th. Y'all are not ready for the kinds of things that are coming out. We have some amazing submissions we've received, and I am so fortunate to have been able to curate and now get to work hopefully with all of these amazing writers who've pitched some great things. So stay tuned. I'm going to be doing a lot with this channel and more. I'm excited.
I'm very excited as well. It looks very exciting. Finally, Rue, tell us who you are, where we can find you, all of that jazz.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rue. My pronouns are she, her. You can find me on my Twitter at Cherry Drop, and that has all the links to all the things I do. I'm game designer, writer, and stream producer at a couple other channels. You can find my games at rue7.itch.io. And currently, I just submitted my holo for the Babes in the Woods All Hollows EP that's coming out, it's all out. My holo is not out yet because it's being finalized, but should be a fun time if you are interested in kind of over the garden wall style storytelling. Babes in the Woods is a really great TTRPG for that. And all the other holos sound really, really cool. There's like the one written by the designer that is about a lonely witch in the woods. There's one that's like a space related one. And the last one is a holo of a lot of animal critters. So should be fun. Mine is a glitchy holo that cycles between 3 different planes, one of which is a town that is just like riddled with mysteries and 3 very overworked detectives.
Excellent.
Should be a good time.
Yeah, very exciting. That's all coming out. I should probably talk about myself very quickly. My name's Philippa Mort. You can find me everywhere at Mort Philippa, mostly on Twitter and TikTok. I write games, I write little adventures and things. One little thing you might like at the moment, if you're enjoying Mausritter, I wrote a Mausritter dungeon called Tomb of the Slumbering Queen, which is currently on sale in the drive-through RPG Halloween sale, and it's also over on Itch.io as well. Just to finish up, a few things to remind you. If you would like to, please do consider subscribing to our Twitch channel, Girls Run These Worlds. And also don't forget, there is also loads of stuff over on the YouTube channel as well. Coming up also, a few little ones you might be interested in. There is casting going on for Invincible Sword Coven, which opens this weekend, a game about matriarchy, justice, and the end of the world, which is GM'd by Girls Run These World's own Anita the Lesbian, apparently. I'm just reading this. So Thursday night, tune in for the start of a 3-episode series of Demigods, a Powered by the Apocalypse game with Gaynor in the hot seat. The gods have called up their children to take over their jobs, but they have one last hurrah to enjoy their freedom. That sounds really fun. I'm going to watch that. And finally, a reminder, creator application is open, and also the application for winter one-shots is open as well at the moment. So if you think you want to run something on here, please do consider applying. With that, we will finish up. We're going to be raiding Women in Games International, who are playing While Beyond the Witchlight, which I think is appropriate. I believe there's some bunnies and little woodland creatures going on in that as well. So probably not while they're just right as they're playing, but appropriate segue. So please do carry on in chat and go and have a watch of that as well. We'll be back next week at the same time, I believe. And so until then, we will all say goodbye.